I would probably take Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, C.J. Stroud over the Bills.
We have some NFL headlines. I'll give you guys a story, and you tell me if it's fraud or for real. So first up, we're going to start with Tom Brady, who keeps giving us some good sound from a podcast where he's sitting down getting a haircut. I don't know. You got to do interesting stuff, I guess, to stay relevant. He was asked who is the next quarterback to win his first Super Bowl. Who is it, Tommy?
I like Josh Allen a lot. I think he's, I'd pick Josh.
Josh?
Yeah. I like Josh a lot as a guy, as a leader. But, you know, he's got to get past the Chiefs, and that's hard because Patrick's incredible in the way he leads that team.
Yeah.
Bills fifth in the odds right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook to win the Super Bowl at 12-1, tied with the Lions. So, Gojo, fraud or for real on this one?
I'm going to go fraud on this one just because of the juncture. Like, I think Josh Allen can and will win a Super Bowl at some point. I think where their roster's at and where the Chiefs are at right now, going to make it difficult to lift that lid at this point. And it's interesting to consider how many quality quarterbacks we have in the league right now, Dad, that still haven't won that first Super Bowl. If you were going to ask me to offer one and say, eat this, not at that, in terms of Josh Allen winning a Super Bowl, if not him, then who? Like, playing the odds here, Brock Purdy probably is the name that comes to mind. This 49ers team, once again, looks like they're going to be the class of the NFC. And in that final year of his deal where, yeah, even when he gets paid, I think they're still going to be a really competitive outfit. I think he's got a really good shot just in this next coming year if San Francisco can finally get over the hump.
I fraud this, and Mike, I would probably take Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, C.J. Stroud over the Bills, because this is more about the team. We're talking about the quarterback. I get it, but this is about the team. I think their window is closing a bit there. They got rid of a lot of the veterans. They're trying to reshuffle a little bit. Let's see how they come out. But I'd put a number of teams ahead of them, which means a number of quarterbacks ahead of Josh Allen to win the next Super Bowl. So that, to me, this is absolutely fraud.
I think in the AFC, I'm with you. I would absolutely, like, Lamar Jackson was the first name that popped into mind, but I think understanding, hey, the AFC is so difficult because Kansas City lives here and they're the dynasty right now. But I would probably put Lamar Jackson for the reasons that you mentioned right now. Overall, it seems like, well, Baltimore is going to deal with some losses of their own. I think the brain drain on that roster in terms of their coaching staff that just got a lot of big names plucked off of that. Defensively, some of the guys they lost there as well. Their offensive line is going to look entirely different. They're not without question and concern. But the level of football that Lamar Jackson played last year, him and Josh Allen were both stellar, but I think the Ravens organizationally have shown, hey, we've already had to change some stuff around Lamar Jackson. We've already made moves, and they've worked out bringing Todd Monken in there, reorganizing some in the passing attack. Zay Flowers there alongside that tight end room that had been great. And so I think if you're going to structure it even in the AFC, I would put Lamar before Josh Allen at this point in time. So we're both going fraud on that one, Claudia. What do we got to audit next?
Breaking news. In parentheses, Niners wideout Brandon Aiyuk requested a trade. This is according to an NFL insider on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. But then his agent quote tweeted and said, you need to find better sources. This comes after Aiyuk, who is entering the final season of his contract, did generate buzz on following the Niners on Instagram. Senior, I know you love to talk about social media, so with that in the fold, although his agent did sort of put this down with the quote tweet, fraud or for real on this one?
Man, I think this will end up being fraud. I think this is just a leverage move by Aiyuk when you start scrubbing your social media, you know, of your team to show that, hey, I'm serious about this when this is what everybody does. San Francisco's getting into an interesting situation with a lot of talented players, and then they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy at some point as well. We always talk about the rookie wage scale for those rookie quarterbacks, I should say, when you're on that rookie contract. Eventually, you have to pay them. And Aiyuk deserves the money. Does he deserve the money Devontae Smith just got? I mean, the last 2 years, this guy's had over 1,000 yards, over 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, averaging about in the last 2 years, 14, 15 yards a catch. I mean, there's just so much talent on that offensive side of the ball with Debo and Kittle and Christian McCaffrey that he's one of them. So at some point, you probably can't pay them all, which is a shame because you have an open window now. We just talked about San Francisco with the ability and the team to be able to win the Super Bowl, and that's not even getting to the defensive side of the ball of paying players. So I still think, Mike, this is fraud. I still think they can end up paying him. You can still get away with it. You didn't have to pay Brock Purdy just yet, so I still think he'll be in San Francisco.
I would probably agree. And I think the sticking point, because you mentioned the numbers with him and Devontae Smith, pretty similar over the last couple of years. Like Brandon Aiyuk, 15 touchdowns over the last 2 years. Devontae Smith, 14 touchdowns over the last 2 years. Both over 1,000 yards each of the last 2 seasons. Both up over 70 catches. A little bit more volume for Devontae Smith. So in an offense that gets you so many yards after the catch, Aiyuk been able to do a little bit more on a yards per catch basis. But I think very similar profiles for this teams. And Devontae Smith's contract made him the 4th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. So it didn't reset the market there, much the same way. I don't think Brandon Aiyuk is by any means a reset the market kind of player. No. He might get a little bit more because he's next, but I think he's right in that wheelhouse in terms of these two as players, where if you made me pick one, I'd probably give slight edge to Brandon Aiyuk. Big, physical, affords you a lot, and has come a long way as a blocker in that offense that asks a lot of it in the Shanahan-McVay schemes, but I don't think it's by any means a leaps and bounds better than situation.
Yeah, one thing I like about both of them, they've both been pretty durable as far as games they've played, right? Mm-hmm. Playing all the games or maybe missing just one. And that was a question about Devonta Smith coming into the league because he was very slight. Would he be able to handle the rigors of getting knocked around? And he's done it very well. You know, he's been productive while being the best ability is availability, and he's been out there. So he got paid, and I think Aiyuk will get paid.
Absolutely. All right, so we're both in on that one. Claudia, what do we got up next?
This one, I'm just going to let you know, I'm saying it's for real because I agree with Joe Burrow, who says, let there be taunting. He said this on Jason Travis Kelce's New Heights podcast. He said, quote, yeah, I'm pro-taunting. We're all grown adults that work really hard at what we do, and sometimes we'd like to show it. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt if somebody sacks me and taunts me like, yeah, you made a play. I get it. Good for you. Like I said, I am the fan, so I totally agree with this. You guys actually played the game, though. Senior, is this fraud or for real? Do you agree?
I think for Burrow, it's for real, and I don't have a problem with it at all. They won't do it because of how it looks to the younger kids. That's why they're not going to do it. You know, the pro sports feel there's a responsibility to, the kids coming up that will be the next generation of players, or to even those that aren't and will maybe only play Little League football or up through high school. And they don't want to send that message because that's what kids do. They emulate the pros. They emulate the stars. And if you see a star finger wagging or standing over a guy and, posing and taunting, they're going to do it. And to me, that's up to the coach. That's up to the coach and the parents to not have the kids do it. So I don't fully believe in, don't do it if you're in the pros because then the kids will do it. Well, you know what? There are kids out there that have people that oversee them that can make sure they don't do it and coach that into them or parent that into them that you're going to sit if you do something like that. There could be different rules in the pros and in Little League up to high school. So Joe Burrow's right, man. It's a lot of work to get where you are. It's a lot of work to be successful at that level. These are grown men out there. Let them finger wag a little bit. I don't care at all about that stuff.
Yeah, it's so weird, how my mind kind of starts to think about these differently a little bit now. I'm not old by any means, but sitting here in my mid-30s watching my friends raise kids and seeing videos of kids that now very much do emulate what they see on these top levels here. Like you've seen videos of 5th grade basketball leagues where the kids are all in the shooting sleeves and giving everyone the too small here. And I don't know the kind of psychological effect that sort of stuff has on kids at that young age, if you've got kids getting bullied like that on court or not. Because, Dad, in general, when it comes to the grown folks, I'm with you on this. Like, you're going out there, and especially in football, you're writing a check that your ass has to cash. Like, if you want to go out there and talk smack to somebody, guess what? They get a chance to legally assault you the next play. So if you're comfortable in doing that, by all means, get after it. And if you're good at it, I was always jealous because I couldn't talk smack very well. I was never very good at it. Yeah. It is somewhat of an art form. So that much I will definitely say I am all in on there.